You're listening to the Serurubele Storyteller Series. This year, Pop Art Theatre teamed up with the Market Theatre Laboratory to bring you 4 new story collections by 18 young storytellers. All you need to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is Just Keep Swimming.
Aviwe, you're a beautiful Xhosa princess. I'm a second-year student at the Market Theatre Lab. Today I'm with my 4 fellow classmates / storytellers / superstars. So today we are here to tell you guys all stories under the theme, Just Keep on Swimming. There comes a time in life, you face a situation whereby you're like, hey, I cannot. Because you have to keep on swimming in order for you to achieve something greater. Sonke apha namhlanje, we've experienced such and we're here to share with you. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Philani.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Sanbonani. Sure. Imagine this. 6-year-old kids sitting together, talking, topic after topic. This topic leads to the other topic. This topic leads to this other topic. And then to this one crazy topic where we started talking about crazy people, on how they are so violent, on how they react when you say no to their request, So this was me and my friends. And believe me, I believed each and every little bit of thing that we talked about. And I kept each and everything in mind, that never say no to a crazy person, not knowing that the day of reckoning will come for me. So one day, coming back from school, my mother takes me and sits me down and tells me that my grandmother is sick. She is crazy. And now we must pack our things and go to visit her. Along the way, I was busy thinking, oh shit, my grandmother is crazy. Now she'll be doing all those crazy stuff, jumping on top of tables, doing some kung fu shit, Like I'm panicking, like I don't know what to do, but because like I love my grandmother, it's one person like who's very caring, very loving, and she makes me feel special. And so it was my turn for me to be there for her, to show support. So we are there at her house. It's more than 3 days now. Things have calmed down. She's not doing anything or having her episodes of being crazy, And then the family, everyone decides to go to the fields to help pick up the veggies and the meals, bring them back, because since she's sick, she cannot do that. Now they leave me with her. It is only the 2 of us inside the house. It's very awkward because it's very silent, only the sound of TV playing, Cartoons there. I cannot even look at her straight, I'm busy staring at her, watching the cartoons, I'm panicking, but as a kid, the more you start investing more in the cartoons, like you start losing and you start loosening up, and loosening up, enjoying the cartoons. Then out of the blue, bam, she started singing. Risinga, hanga, risinga, Teresa, hanga, lokari mina, hanga, zinga, jakama, hanga. She's singing this song, and this song, lyrics says, I know what you did and I am coming for you, It's a threatening song. And now she's looking at me like with those creepers eyes, singing the song, coming closer and closer. Now I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I'm even trying to scream, but there are no words coming out of my mouth, And then out of the blue, politely, do you want maheu? Oh, the only thing that clicks into my mind, the voices of my friend, never say no to a crazy person. And then I said, yes. She brings like this giant cup. Oh, cool. And my the teacher say, until the teacher is my, until the teacher is so can I go some apologies? I'm told, I'm bam the cup. Within 2 seconds, I finished the cup of maheu. And then she asked me again, do you want a refill? And then I said, yes. She kept bringing the refills of maheu with that same big cup over and over until I started drowning in that cup. But because I wanted to save my ass not to get ass whooped, I have to say yes. And then she kept them. And then, like on the 4th cup, like my belly was already full, I was starting to sweat, like I couldn't take it anymore. But she was busy bringing those cups. I have to keep on swimming. swimming on those mackerel. But the 6th mackerel, like, to finish that cup, it was a hard job for me. Now I'm busy with that cup, holding that cup, looking at my grandmother. She's busy at the kitchen, cooking, singing that same song again, But you know what? I have to keep on pushing, Busy sipping that cup. After finishing that cup, taking that huge breath of saying, you know what? You have done this. No more Mahi. She brings like this huge pump. Boom! Out of the blue. And then she says, eat. One thing inside my mind says, you have to tell her no. But the voices of my friends keep coming back. Hey, Nkalagata, never say no to a crazy person. And then I said, yes. I started eating that pap, with tears coming out. I'm crying. I don't know what to do. Like, my mom, like, there's no one there to help me. She's there sitting, looking at me straight, Then my mother comes in, finds me crying, and then she asks me, what's wrong? Then I said, Makoko started, abusing me, feeding me all these things, And then she started to take me, and then she stood me down, and then she started talking, giving me notes that no, not all crazy people are so violent or whatnot, Some others, they can't even reason. Sometimes you have to tell them no. But as a child, I did not follow or fall for that shit, because like for me that was a hardcore ass whooping in a different way, But as I tend to grow up now, I get to see that no, my grandmother was trying to show love to me, And now even today, like I'm still swimming over her love, even if she's crazy, because that's how she tried to show me love. So I kept on swimming that way. Pow, 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 pow.
Dango Philani, thank you so much for sharing with us. Next up is Malume. Malume is not with us here today, but we have his recording. He will share the story with us.
Rule number 1, do not go to church if and only if your reason for going there is following your crush. The year is 2013. I was in KZN, Potchefstroom, lapho engazalwa khona, ngakhula khona. I was doing absolutely nothing at that time. It is 2 years later after I had finished my matric, but still my direction was not clear. So I'm not a person who is interested in church, but since I was not busy with anything in my life at that time, I found myself attending church all because of a church girl that I was dating. So I found this girl, Nomo Sanzoza. That's her name. She's dark, not too short, and very, very beautiful. I found her in church and our relationship was so good. It was my first time feeling that way about a girl, I'm telling you. Even though our relationship was great, but my best friend did not really like her. He would say that he does not trust her and that she will hurt me, but I assumed that my friend was jealous, and jealous because I was in a happy relationship and he was not. And I really, really loved this one so much. It was clear. It was so clear that I was not going to listen to anyone. So about 6 months down the line, she told me she is moving to Johannesburg to study at UK. I was happy for her, but not so happy for our relationship, So he moved anyway. And it was still okay. We were calling each other every day and night, sharing pictures of ourselves every morning, until we decided that no, man, I should visit her in Johannesburg. So yeah, we agreed on the dates. Then I lied to my mother and said I'll be visiting my church friend in Johannesburg. It didn't feel well to lie to my mother, but then I wanted to do this. So she didn't question me a lot because she trusts me. I was so excited about this. Nervous at the same time, Nervous because it was going to be my first time sharing a room with her, a bed even. Nervous about all the stuff that's going to happen, if I'm going to impress or bore her, all those things, So the next day was Tuesday. I woke up very early since I had already packed my stuff. I said my goodbyes and headed straight to the long-distance taxis. I took my 8-hour trip to the big city for the very first time. So she kept on calling, checking my whereabouts, and then I was in Joburg after 8 hours, and I found her waiting for me where she said she would wait. Yo. The smile on my face when I saw her. The smile on her face when she saw me. It was so beautiful. It was so exciting. I was so excited to see her. The smile in her face, the excitement in her eyes was the only thing that assured me we're going to have a crazy good time. So we took a taxi at Bree to Brixton where she rented. We got there. It's a student commune. So we greeted the housemates and then we went straight to her bedroom. So when we got in there, we looked at each other. We laughed. We laughed as we got closer and closer to hug each other for a very longest time. So she took out a bottle of vodka that she had bought for me just to welcome me. She made me food. After that, we had a long session of catching up. We drank, and that night was over. So the next day, she did not attend the classes. We had another bonding session. It was all exciting, I'm telling you. So on following days, though, she would go to school. I would stay behind. That boring life. I would stay behind, watch TV all day and wait for her to come back. I actually did that for quite some time, Then on one Saturday, I decided that no, I should just go to Pretoria to check my sister and her husband. So I told her, my girlfriend. She was okay with it, I took a taxi from MTN to Pretoria. So my sister sent me directions and instructed me to wait for my brother-in-law by Semimax Square in Pretoria. I did as I was told. So my brother-in-law, he fetched me, then we got there. So it was nice, fun, but I told myself I'm going back to Brixton the same day because it was more fun where I came from, So a few hours later, I was leaving, going back to Brixton. So I got to Brixton around 6 p.m. It was starting to be dark. I was at the gate when I called Nomusa to open for me. She said she went to her sister also, who lives in town. So she also said I must take a taxi back before it's too dark. I said okay. Then I dropped my phone. But my guards were telling me otherwise. My question was, when I was in KZN, she told me all the time when she went to her sister. But now that I'm here, she can't tell me that she's going to her sister. No, something was not right. So I walked to another gate, a big one, the big gate where cars get in and go out, So I was planning to jump it, but luckily I found it opened. And there was a car parked outside, but I didn't pay attention to it, because I didn't know whose car was it. So I went to her room, and before I could even reach to the door, I heard her laughing inside. My jaws just dropped. I started sweating. I waited for like a minute, not believing what I just heard, And then my heart started pounding because I didn't know what to expect after what I just heard, So I knocked. She asked from the inside, "Who is it?" I didn't answer her. I knocked again, and then she opened. There was a 2 minutes moment of silence, And there she was inside with a very tall, handsome dude, those guys that you see that, okay, this one, Baba, we are those tough guys, They're inside watching a movie. They were not doing anything, but at least at that time, maybe. So I couldn't believe my eyes, I waited there. I stood there, and then I decided to go out for a smoke. I came back. That guy was gone. I asked her why she lied to me. She did not answer. I asked her very loudly and angrily this time. She said if I listened to her and went back, I would not have seen this. I didn't believe her. I was so broken. I asked her if she slept with this guy. She said no. So it was already late. I told myself to calm down and sleep. I will dump her first thing in the morning because I wanted to have a place to sleep, and it was already late. So I wasn't gonna have anything sorry, I was not gonna have transport to go back to Pretoria if I decided to go back to Pretoria. So next morning, I didn't dump her. It just didn't happen because I loved her so much, so I couldn't do it. So I did not imagine my life without her. I really didn't. So we continued to date for like 5 years after that. But slowly things were fading away, things like the spark in our relationship. So we sat down as adults, we spoke about it, and we had to call it quit. And we just parted ways, just like that. So it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right because I loved her so much, but it was not working at all. It didn't feel right, and I was a bit heartbroken. But time heals, right? So after our breakup, I decided to continue staying in Johannesburg because I had noticed how people my age are doing great with their lives, without pressure from back home. Well, not all of them are doing great, but I decided to look on a better side. So even though my first reason to go to Johannesburg was normal, but I was happy that I picked some things from it. I learned a lot from it. So I learned like a lot to stand on my own 2 feet and be my own man, learned to put me first, and it motivated me to work harder on my dreams so that I will also one day have my own money and be able to have nice things, So yeah, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Malume. Hey, bathi njalo ke pandemic bafethu. Hey, kubi. But uzoswima ne? Uzoswima. So, next up is Star Ndokozo Khatebe. Aye.
Sanibonani.
Awe.
Igama lami nguNtokozo Hadebe. Ngizothi ke qaphu kwenginakho kulo mbhekabhekana. You see, before ngenza grade 10, I was a good boy, I think, because me going to church every day. I mean, I've never bring troubles at home. I mean, like fighting in the streets or maybe stealing someone item. I mean, I was always in my room. If I'm not in my room, I'm outside helping my father with home stuff nyana. You see, mkuba and ukulungisa icege. Up until ngize ngifika kwa grade 10. Then I was new there, me not having friends. So I saw this group of 4 boys, then I liked them. So I was like, maybe if they can be my friends. Mara, I was like, no, sizobuye sibone. So it was Wednesday during lunch when I went to shop to buy some snack. So the boys was there. So I put my money go counter buying snacks, and the other boy from 4 boys, he just took my money. I was like, mtita manje, then what? I was like, no, uyani. So then I just went straight to the guy. I said, mtita, imali yami, let. Then the guy started pushing me backwards and pushing me again and again. And I was like, yabona no, ngizok report. Then the guy stopped. And we talk nyana, then sathatha imali, sathenga ama-snacks, then share ama-snacks wabo nawami, then saxoxa, then from lapho bese sesingabangani. So then same week we decided ukuthi nge-Friday siyavaya siya kwenye i-travel ebi around our town, just to share some beers and sibe abangani and see ukuthi siyaphi ne. So mina angaze ngaba kuma travel so abantu kade bethi leya travel ibhizi kumnandi and stuff on. So Friday we via da kunama lights sound, abantu baya screama kuya jive kumnandi, then uma singena la we just sapphire amabhiya i8 nanebhodlela ele Minoff. Then they would make tafula la around table by the corner. So we just went there, sabeka amabhiya, then saqala saphuza saplaga kwanomsindo kwamnandi amajitha avaya ajayiva nabantwana. So mina I was new, obvious after a first beer and some stiff nyana. Yeah, vele mina I was very drunk. Yeah. So yeah, it was nice. Yeah, up until it was around 11 late, because the travel was closing around 12. So we're like, abantu sebeya vaya utanathi, let's via. Yeah, we were drunk. Yeah, holding those beers and the small Steve along the way, shouting names. Yeah, all the way until there was this other guy coming opposite us. Then they got busy in the phone. Then Amachita, Trista. Then the other one, Irambo. Yeah. Then they attack the guy. Futsak. Phone, Mali. Then Tatizindo. Then after, Pamtrapa, what to attack? Vai. Then Savaya. Stacy Savaya, siya endlini. Then just nje, da, Sabona, enye I kapul. Ebe I kisana so. Then the other guy just gave me a oka boots, except just via that. And uyoba search that. So the other guy decided to say no, ngizo push mara uyi-leader uwena ozodala ispan song. So yeah, we went there. So him though I was scared with except ngizoyidala kanjani die mara bengibona ukuthi if angiyenzi cause ngimusha la labantu laba bazojikela mina cause bazocabanga ukuthi maybe ngizoba mpimpa or what. So bengipushelekile ukuthi eksentana go dala the thing. So nama ngavele ngaqina ngaba nesibindi I hold kaper I via that check my phone then search and sathola they were screaming. So I thought maybe people they're gonna come to help them because they kunomsindo la. Then the guy just helped me ukuthi sithathe izinto fast then we ran. So sayothola amanye amajitha. Then along the way they said asidlule kule room le yomunye umngani wabo. So ebe ngingamazi by that time. So we went there. Amajitha uma ifika siyanoka, the guy is not there. So they were like, no, siyaqhekeza la. Like yeah. So mina vele I was like, no. Uma ngabe bethi A, I'm A. Angeke bethi A ngithi B. Yabo. So yeah, bavula bhaka nyango then sangena. There was a laptop there, DVD, speakers, go fridge, bekune sinkwanyana nani nyamanyana ya nje ya ichuru ezimnandi. So bathova school bag for this guy or bekangekho la. So but lot of stuff khona. Yeah, then savaya. Yeah, siyavaya siyadla nandi. Then from leyo Friday leyo nto leyo ibe isiba into eyokuthi sizoyenza like every weekend. Yeah, we via we dala the things every weekend. We via we dala the things siyabaropa house break up until sizobanja because sangena kuleli elinye idlala. So bekunama cameras la. So asiwa nakanga we just went sagqekeza sathatha esikuthathayo laptop. There was a safe la kunegani namaphuleti namaphones like sabutha nje izinto ezibhaya savaya. Then after about 3 days besise scale. Then kwaqhamuka ama-vans maybe the Y4 kosikolo ama-vans awamahata okushuthi kade bezosilanda escale. Yeah, uma befika yeah amahata ile timer basicova basisa police station la esafika khona bathi usiqapha kancane. Yeah, bezofika ukuthi sizokhuluma basiqapanyana kancane basibhalisa la esasibhala khona. Then lucky kwazofika ama-parents wethu singakafakwa kuma-stocksini. So uma ngabe befika baxoxa nale timer le namahata ukuthi maybe yeah asiyekwe. Then bagcina decide ukuthi I know bazosithatha besifake kule stocksini lesi maybe for 3 days thusanyana ukuthi no like singaphindi siyokwenza dining food yabo. So da kade kunomdala, so uma singena kule stocks lesi ububona ukuthi lapha kunalama blankets abawabizwa izigqwashu la strong, yeah, just nana kumahlipi kunokudla osekukhavwe ngamaplastiki osekubolile okudala la, even i-bathroom yakhona uyabona ukuthi uyangena uyasaba ne, yeah, mara then asathatha lezi gqwashu lezo sabeka la salala, then it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then bezosikhipha Monday ekuseni. So Monday ekuseni umdala wathi kithi bafana bami le ndawo enikuyo le ayikho right, and ngoba nila kuzomele ekungabe sengimisebenzile mara ngizoniyekela cause nisesengabafana abancane besikole. So uma niphuma la vayani and do the right thing, cause ngaphinda ngabona ubuso nje boyi-1 wenu la kuzonyiwa. So yeah, from lapho uma siphuma mina I was like yeah vele, yeah, from lezi zinto ezika so ngiyaphuma because nami ngangiqala ngisathatha ama-chance. Yeah, I was like I know ngiyaphuma. Then amajita they decided ukuthi I know bona basaqhubeka they dala the thing up until beYuropa oyedwa bamshuta and washona ne. Yeah, then the other gents now they decided ukuthi I know sebeyahlela, then yeah saqhubeka sazohlangana saxoxa nge-live, yeah, bavaya bayokwenza izinto zabo, yeah, nami ngavaya, yeah, since ngila, but I'm like yeah, life is life, let's push, yeah, no.
Small is down point. Hey, Gafetu, yes, if you don't keep swimming, ne?
You must learn the thing.
You must learn the thing. Hi guys, now I'm sharing some story. It's my time. So in 2019, I used to work as a till operator in a retail store. Yo, guys, hey, I hated that job. I hated everything about it. I hated the store on its own. I hated the people inside it. I hated the coldness. Yeah, my feet, they would freeze for 8 full hours. I hated these people, man. Everything about it, I hated with every fiber of my being. And now because of the resentment I had of the space, and yeah, I had a depression. So that caused me not to be present most of the time. I was always in my thoughts. Sometimes I would serve a customer without even noticing that there's a person in front of me. You know, that is strange. And even today, I still wonder which even my colleagues, like my former colleagues, it was a struggle for me to hold a conversation with them because even them bored me. Like, but I couldn't resign because I needed the income. I needed the income to pay for my part-time classes, my acting part-time classes, and also help my mother with expenses at home. So yeah, sure. Now, this one time, a store manager called me in his office. He said that he received an email from the main office in Cape Town. There's a customer complained about me being rude. Because rude. And share my boss as well. He was also confused that because he knows the kind of person I am. I am not the rude type of a person. So he continued telling me about this email. Baba Mugai mentioned where he works, the company that he works for, his high position in the company, his status, and if I keep this up, he's gonna get me fired. And now, knowing that the company would be on his side, that scared me a bit. And I'm like, shit, okay, what am I going to do now? Because I cannot afford to lose this job. So my boss advised that I find this guy and apologize to him. Thing is, I don't know him. I don't remember seeing him. So I took his name from the email. I Googled him, thinking maybe if I see his face, I'm going to remember him. Hey, it felt like I was seeing the face for the first time. I want to apologize to this guy, even though I know, like, I don't remember doing anything wrong, but then my job here is at stake. Okay, sharp. A week later, the guy came. In fact, he came, but I couldn't notice who he was. Still, I don't know how. So I remember correctly greeting him first before serving him. I throw out the transaction. I'm just quiet and I'm scanning his things. Then I heard him shouting, this is why, the exact reason why I reported you. Your attitude. Seriously, these people need to take me serious this time around. And he took his stuff and he stormed out. And I'm like, I go. And then my brain now was quick to remember the email and the advice my boss gave me. I hopped out my chair. I ran out the shop. And I told my colleague, listen, if anyone's looking for me, on Kavele up. I looked for him. Hey, I couldn't see him. In my head, I'm like, Unamoto. He must have a car. Took a lift to the basement. I ran around the basement, the parking lot like a headless chicken. I'm looking for this guy. I need to apologize to this guy. I eventually found him. He was just about to get into his car. I went to him, I humbled myself, and I apologized. Even though I know deep down in my heart that, man, I did not do anything wrong. But then, my job, remember? I apologized, and then he was like, he smiled actually, and then looked me straight into my eyes, and he was like, I'm glad that you acknowledge your wrongs. At least now we'll get along so well. In my head, I'm like, I did not do anything wrong, and I know. But then I kept quiet. I had to put my big girl panties on because, man, Joe. Then, that passed a month after. The guy comes in. The moment I saw him, I was like, yo, Satan, not today, please. I do not have the energy for this. But this time around, he was standing by the shelves, right? Talking to this other girl that works around the building. She's black. She's the same age group as me. But then what was interesting was the look that he gave her. It was the exact look that he gave me. That flirtatious look. Straight into the eye. Hey, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I went around the building asking about this guy. I described him. Then people told me that, no, man, this guy, he's like 80, 50, so. Yeah. They're like, no, this guy. He's into young girls on their 20s, black girls specifically. Apparently, the guy was into me. He wanted my attention. But me, being me, I did not see that. I'm like, I didn't see this one coming. But then that kind of pissed me off. Like, it disgusted me. Like, who goes around throwing his weight around because they didn't get the attention that they wanted? It was childish and disgusting. And because of that, it just clicked into my mind that, you know what, I need to stop complaining about how much I hate this place and start acting and start doing something about it so that I can leave. Because there's only one thing around now is to leave the place. So during my lunch breaks, every day I'd apply for jobs, every day, up until the lab opened applications for full-time students. And I was like, this is my chance, actually. This time around is not about finding better employment. Now it's about me following my passion and doing what I love. I applied, and then I was shortlisted. I worked hard for my audition. I was like, it's this or unemployment, and it has to be this. I went hard for my audition. I auditioned and I got accepted. And my girl, right now, is living the life she wanted. Living her passion. Yes. That's the one. Thank you. So up next is Zevangeli Mambofu. Batati girl.
Once upon a time in a boarding school lived a girl called duh, me. I was doing my matric here, loved by everyone, including teachers, because of course, academic-wise, tick.
Yes.
Now, as you know, guys, you can't be famous in high school and not be part of a gang, you know? So I was part of the group called Abo Small. Usem, Uzevi, no Lou. 3 very short and cute girls in the whole entire school, man. Loved by everyone. And of course, hated by those who tried to be us and never became us because we are cool. Anyway, let me get to the story already. It was this particular Friday afternoon at the hostel. Everyone was just bored. It was empty. All other grades had already left for December holidays. Just matriculants were left to finish off 2 papers the next week. Ask me, what papers? isiZulu paper 3 and English paper 3.
Yeah.
Of course, no one feared writing stories, especially Abo Small. Man, we cool, and plus, we used to lie a lot at the bottom school just to get permission to go everywhere. So, we were not scared. Hence, we decided, you know what, guys? Let's go to the mall. Yeah, plus, we bored. We don't want to study. We won't study Zulu paper 3. No. Plus, it was the coolest thing, I tell you, to go to the mall and to escape. If you did that in high school, in my high school, you were the coolest kid around the block. So we were like, let's do it. So Osam Nolu decided to do the usual. What the matron doesn't know won't hurt her. But I decided, let me just be a cool kid, man, and just be good and ask for permission. It sounded funny, but I was like, just once, and I wanted to prove to the group, yeah, you can be good girls and just be good, nothing else. So I was like, I'm going to ask for permission. But before that, I called Ungano Musihle. He was attending at a rich kids neighboring high school. Because I knew he had the data and the airtime to do it. So I was like, hey, Donna, please request for me Uber tomorrow. And then he was like, is it your Uber? Donna, it's 5 minutes away. He sent a VN. Hey, I quickly rushed to Metro Nguni's office. Politely, guys, I promise you, politely asked for permission to go to Galera Shopping Mall. She called my mom just to confirm. And my mom, thanks, mom. You're so cool, man. Being a cool mom, she agreed. But Metron Nguni easily denied me the permission to go to the mall. I mean, it didn't make sense. And I was so angry. Why would you do that? I mean, I'm the coolest kid. I've never done anything wrong. I've never been to the principal's office. I mean, of course, unless it was for good news, bursaries and all that. So I was angry, and I was like, no, man, this is irritating, man. Trying to digest my anger and my disappointment, I was going to my room, and then my phone rang. And I'm like, yeah, unknown number. Okay, I answer it. Yo, it's the Uber driver. Yo, I forgot that I requested an Uber, and he's outside. And I'm like, yo, what am I going to do? I'm like, okay, sharp, let me go. I go down the parking lot, down the stairs. Yo, I'm panicking. I'm thinking, what if the matron sees me? But I'm like, okay, let's go. I get to the Uber. I try to have a nice, polite chat with the guy. The guy's just like, no, bruh, if you're not going, cool. Then I want my mom. I'm like, hey, bruh, hey, I don't have it. Then he's like, go with me. Let's withdraw it. And I'm like, yo, sharp, okay, I'm getting in the car. But I'm panicking. I'm like, what if the matron is looking at me? What if, those kids that hate you, that snitch on you? What if one of those kids, is looking at me? And what if the security? I'm thinking a lot of things. Guys, I wish I knew about cell phone banking back then. I would have just... But anyway, get in the car, we drive. Hey, passing Usam Nolu. Next to a bush that is next to a very, very illegal gate at the school. Now you already know it's not good. They were having a conversation with the security guard that was standing there. It's not good. But anyway, I was like, it's not a problem. I'm trying to prove that I'm a good kid. We go vroom, to the main gate. We get to the main gate. I'm like, yo, come and land on the floor of the car. Because now the security guard is going to jump on me and then it's going to be a problem. Because he's going to want the permission slip, which is obviously the one I don't have. This is me on the floor of the car, sleeping there. Hey, it's going. And I'm like, yo, can we pass? And then we pass. And I'm like, no, thank you, Lord. I'm sure the security guard just assumed that the driver was there to, I don't know, check up on a kid at the hostel or leave groceries or something. Anyway, we drive. boom. Yo, I'm like, yeah, I'm relieved. Let's go. The Uber driver obviously asked me questions, and I obviously lied. Like, I told you about lying in there. Anyway, we go. I get at the mall. We drew money, paid the driver, and I'm like, cool. I call Sam and Lou. Let's go, guys. Let the fun begin. Do we not go to our favorite restaurant and we order ribs, ice cream, pies, everything, guys? And I tell you, that was the coolest thing to do, to just eat food. Yeah, back then it was no slight problems. And freedom smelled nice. We were having fun taking pictures, for the greasy, for the gram. And then when we were done, we were like, guys, let's go to the jail. Let's go back, let's go back. We go to the taxi rank, respectively trying to find our taxi. We bump into a group of boys from school. They called themselves the Intoxicated. They were up to no good, as the name says. And they're like, hey, guys, you know what? We're going to the same direction because, they rented a house just next to the school premise, which was so cool, guys. Yo, you could rent the house back in high school. Anyway, they had a house and they were like, guys, you guys are going to the hostel, right? Yeah, sure. Let's just, request an Uber van because, we're going to the same direction. Plus, we'll pay. And I had that. I was like, yo, you guys are going to pay. No, let's just, But I didn't want to associate with them because they were up to no good. But we were like, okay, let's go back to the mall and request an Uber. Going back to the mall, we see the liquor store. And obviously, the intoxicated who were already intoxicated were now fighting temptations. They lost the battle. They went inside the liquor store, and obviously, Uze, the small child, was just standing outside because not only was I shot, but I was underage too. Yeah, I know, guys. So yeah, they bought alcohol, and then I was like, guys, okay, alcohol, nice vibes, shot. But let us not take the alcohol to school because we're going to have a problem. We're going to, be expelled. And they're like, no, sure, let's get in the Uber. We'll drink the alcohol on the way. We'll make sure that we finish it, We get in the Uber inside. Hey, music is playing. Guys, I was tempted. I had to fight temptations, but I had a smolanyana. After smolanyana, it's another one. I ended up drinking. Now, I must tell you that the initial plan was to get at the hostel at 5 p.m. exactly, when everyone is at a dining hall, including Abo Metro. But I was drinking, I was in there, I don't give a fuck, I'm a matriculate mode, in fact, I'm an adult, you won't tell me anything, I'm a whole 17-year-old fan. And I was like, yo, I don't care. Started drinking, and then we got at the hostel. Now, and as much as I was drunk, but reality kicked in, I was like, oh, Metrons. And then I took out my phone and look at the time. Oh, 6:30. Yo, you were super late. But I'm like, let's keep the cool, the swag. Let's relax. We get at the hostel. It's empty. Everyone is inside. Okay? I come out with Lou. Me and Lou will take out the plastics. And we're like, who's going to open the gate for us? Must I bribe the security? But what if I get in trouble for bribing? Yo, that's another crime. And I'm like, okay, what are we going to do? And then with Jack, me and Lou, we see the gate. It's open. Yo, we had that moment. But anyway, we're like, okay, let's go, Dada, let's rush. We quickly rushed to our room. When we got to our room, we were stars. Everyone was like, yo, you guys are scared. We're like, yeah, sure. But wait, we have alcohol. I had a whole bottle of vodka. I was like, Lou, what are we going to do? And then Lou was like, let's hide it under the mattress. Let's stash it with some oros. Let's do some things, We did the things and we were like, yeah, we're done. We changed into pajamas. So that when the matron patrols, we're like, we've been sleeping the whole day. Like the whole thing. We haven't even bothered. We're like, we did the whole thing and we're like, hey, yeah, no, we cool kids. Nah, we're done. We're safe. But wait, where's Sam? Sam got caught. Yo, just as when she was about to enter her room. Yo, the matron and the security guard, they called her, what's Alawena? And then they took her plastics and then they found alcohol. Now that was a problem. But not only that was the problem. She smelled like a mini bar. Like she didn't know her name. She couldn't, control herself. We were like, yo, it's going. And then they called her mom, and then Sam was expelled. The same time. Because they called the principal. All the principal said was like, fire her. I don't have time to be talking to nonsense. Just fire her. Yo, it was hectic. And then, she started perking, and then they expelled her. While we were still trying to digest that, because I wanted to help her as a best friend, but what can I do? I'm a 17-year-old living in a boarding school. My home is far away in this Cape, and we are in KZN. What can I do? Nothing. So Lou was like, hey, let me call the intoxicated, just to inform them what happened. Yeah, but where too? Yeah, we are in trouble. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Yo, they drove in 5 minutes later. In a car, gong, 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 shirtless. They had pepper sprays. They were busy shouting, "Spunchala there too." The girls at the hostel, it was a whole commotion. They packed in, they went inside, straight the hostel. Now you know that boys are not allowed in girls' hostel, but they didn't care. We want our alcohol. What alcohol? The alcohol Sam had. So we wanted you guys expelled Sam for no reason, man. That alcohol was ours. While the matron is trying to explain and calling the principal, Shama security, it was a whole fight. Now the principal came in and he was trying to just control everything, but the boys obviously not only they had weapons, but they were drunk. Very intoxicated. So they were beating everyone up. Also, the girls just joined the movement. It was a whole banging thing. Bang, bang, bang. And they're like, yo. Yes, please don't mention my name, though. It's cool that you guys are fighting, but don't mention my name. And then, yes, of course, they mentioned my name. They were like, also, the vodka bottle that Zevi had, it's ours. I'm like, please, why are you doing that? Now I was mentioned, and then, they were trying to save me. I get it, because, they were trying to say that I have nothing on me. I get that's when the matron went crazy. She was like, so you acted it, you lied. So she was like, you know what? Go. I'm expelling you. Also, the principal was just like, I'm not taking it. Just go. Now I had nowhere to go. My mom is in Eastern Cape. I'm sitting just outside the hostel premises, watching the whole thing happening, watching people being beaten, just beaten because of the alcohol. While watching that, an old van drives in with boys, maybe 10 boys. And the driver was Unkuli. Yo, Bafowethu. Unkuli, let me tell you. Unkuli is this guy that got expelled 2 months ago at school for selling weed, for beating people up, for being a bully. He was bad news. So I already knew that, the intoxicated called Kuli. And then he came with a gang of guys who were shirtless and ugly and fighting and just, arrogant. And, they drove in the hostel. They joined the commotion. People were beaten. Securities were beaten. It was just a sad commotion, because even the boys at the boys' hostel were woken up by this. Now I must tell you, it's at night, around 8, 9. It's busy. And police were involved at some point because the boys had to be controlled, because they were drunk and they had pangas and they had knives and all that. They had to be controlled. The girls were in this movement of Spunuzevi, abuye, and sleep, because it's at night. Where is she gonna go? Her home is in Eastern Cape. The boys were fighting. To tell you the truth, I don't know fighting what, but they were just fighting and just eating everyone up. And yes, of course, I got expelled. My mom was called the following morning. She came all the way from Eastern Cape. And I remember just watching at her crying and just asking, why, Xavier? Because you only just had 2 papers. You could have just waited and just do this nonsense 3 days later. Why now? And me trying to explain, of course, didn't make sense. But I got expelled and I couldn't finish my matric, because how am I going to write these papers? That's when my teacher, shout out to her, Miss Mkwanazi, took me in. And then she was like, no, you can stay with me, so you can at least finish your papers. I stayed at her house at Umlazi. And then Ulu couldn't finish the papers because, strict parents, and that's a story for another day. She couldn't finish her matric. And then Sam, she managed to write the papers. And I wrote my 2 papers and I got my matric, and I am where I am because Miss Nkona allowed me to stay at her house. Thank you so much. What I learned is just keep swimming, man. Sometimes you just feel like it's too much. just maybe wait on a bit, because maybe if I waited much longer, I would have just written the 2 papers and then we did the whole thing 3 days later. It would have been much better because like I would have finished my matric. But I'm glad that things turn out good. Oh God, imagine. Yeah, just keep on swimming, man. Just do the right thing. Swim.
No, guys. Thank you so much, Zevi. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you guys will enjoy our stories and you will learn something from them. In this life, you have to keep swimming. You have to tell what you must to keep swimming in order to survive this life, because hey, it was cruel. Swim. Thank you so much. Aviwe.